as everybody has said, there's an opportunity. Now the question is it a universal opportunity? The answer is no. What is it? It is actually a segmentation. Look at the various opportunities that came up. Let's talk about co-working spaces, co-living spaces. Was that universal? The answer is no. But was there a segment which worked? The answer is yes. So similarly, in this case too, what is going to happen is that there will be a segment of people and a segment of industry where this will happen. For example, they were saying in the IT sector, this is going to be much more prevalent than the others. When I checked back with some of the companies, they said absolutely no. And I asked, why not? I mean, you're the best and easiest segment in order to do it. He said there's a huge amount of confidentiality involved in the IT sector, and the entire thing is not, it's all about data, information and other things which are there at the back end. So there's no way that this is really going to be outsourced to the residential accommodation. So I think the answer is very simple. There will be a positive trend towards this direction, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in India, whether it's in Dubai or any other place in the world. But I don't think there's going to be a tidal wave in that direction. So yes, opportunities do exist in terms of niche in this segment, and definitely it will come up because more people will look at it. And in the short run, there are lots and lots of people who have decided that they need more space to live in, whether they take it on rental at the initial period or they decide to buy it is a big question mark, which is still there in my mind. But the direction is absolutely correct that you will want one extra room in the house for the purposes of being able to work from there, which didn't exist in the earlier period. And I think that opportunity does exist, a niche to be created, which will happen, whether it's Dubai, whether it's the UK, whether it's India or any other part of the world. I think all these places will see a post-COVID change. Universality in terms of the application? No, I don't think so. I'm saying there is a stretch to the demand, but is there an affordability? When there is such a market which is going downwards, where jobs are at stake and people are worried about their next month's income, are they going to take that decision today? My answer is yes and no. So you're not going to see a universality. Whether they will go into a tenanted premises which would satisfy their short-term duration and then look for buying, that's also a possibility. So a mix and match in terms of a higher amount of requirement is definitely coming that way. And I'm very much swing. But I don't think the world changes so fast. The swing definitely starts, but whether the swing will turn into a tide of a swing is only time will tell. A lot of people said when the co-working spaces started that the whole world of commercial will turn into a co-working space and nobody is going to have individual commercial premises. That's not been true either. So, but there are lots of people who are moving into co-working spaces, and why not? So that has happened. How many people are going in for co-living spaces? Very few. They're going in for rentals, they are going in for this, but may not go for a co-living space. But is co-living happening? Answer is, of course it is happening. It's happening all over the world. And very happily, we see that as a beginning. Niche, yes. Swing, no. Too early to talk about precast, but let's answer the question of migrancy of labor. You have to understand that like every other country in the world, which has got large amount of construction and development and infrastructure work, there is migrancy of labor that comes into that country, or it moves from one segment to the other. So whether it was China when the infrastructure development took place, or it is Dubai where you have migrant labor coming in from all countries in the world, or it is India moving from central India to western India, southern India, and these parts of India where a large amount of migrant labor have come into the being as far as that is concerned. The issue is very simple, that the migrancy takes place because there is an uneven development which is taking place in certain parts of the country. So if there is more opportunity in the western and southern region of India, people who do not get adequate jobs in central India or North India will move to western and southern India. So that's about migrancy. Why are they going back? Well, that's a natural phenomena. When there is fear in the minds of the people, where do you run? You run home. So many of them are running home and they will be back. But will they be back in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days? I don't know. You have to tell me how soon is this lockdown going to open up completely? And when is confidence going to be restored? I think somebody talked about a vaccine. I think once the vaccine comes, all the migrant levels will be back to where the jobs are. But will they come back earlier to that? The answer is, I don't know. And second, will there be jobs to the extent that they are? Will they continue to exist in terms of it? If GDP growth, which was 4.5% to 5% in India, is going to drop to 1 to 1.5%, then the number of jobs availability in the old places will also fall temporarily, if not otherwise. So the number of people requirement in terms of migrant labor will also come down. So I don't think that the movement back is going to be as speedily as we think it to be, which is 2 or 3 months. But the answer was, again, I think my 6 months data seems to be more closer to the truth, though I think it could be considered speculative as of today. But I can bet on it that 6 months from today, things will fall into place. You will have medicines which will take care of this rampant disease. And I'm sure we will be able to mitigate it, even if we don't have vaccine. We run hospitals and we're already seeing certain medicines have effect on faster treatment of COVID-19. We hope that the vaccine will come maybe by August, September, October, so that by November and December, we are actually back to normal. That's a challenge which I think will be much bigger. If that happens, or when that happens, you're going to see migrant labor come back to where the jobs are, whether that is Dubai, whether that is certain parts of China, whether it's parts of various parts of India. I don't think it'll be relevant. People will go where the jobs are there because they want to improve their quality of life, quality of income, or the size of income, and be able to do that. That's going to happen again. But the answer depends on when is the vaccine coming? Big question mark. Yes, the answer is yes. Any innovative action is going to work. But as Firas said, that there's going to be an opportunity all the time for various things to be done. You have to be different. You have to be innovative. And I think fractional ownership could be a part of that. But the question is also, when you have fractional ownership, the question is there buyers for that fractional ownership or not? So you got to create a market for it. So if I buy a fractional ownership of a certain property, whether it's commercial, residential, or otherwise, what is the marketability of that fractional ownership? And that's always a challenge. So what we really have to see is whenever you consider new items like these, the innovative ideas, it's not only about creating the idea. The idea is wonderful. The question is, how do you maintain the marketability and the liquidity? As you must have seen, the stock markets all over the world are working even though there has been a collapse. The reason is that the idea is that you have to continue to create a market, a marketability for the purposes of the capital markets. We don't have such a system in the real estate business, and hence it is a very illiquid market. So if we could create fractional ownership on the lines of the REITs, which are listed entities, I think it'd be a good idea. But you can't have fractional ownership and then say that you will leave the not be into the capital market space in order to create liquidity, because then that is even worse than buying an apartment, because you will not have the right and ownership to be able to sell it. And if you want to sell it, you won't have a buyer to be able to take that fractional ownership. So how do you create a liquidity in the system is as important when you come up with the thing. So the story goes better that you have a REIT situation, which is now universally accepted. So a REIT becomes easier to do it. So you actually contribute to a REIT, which is actually a fractional ownership that is there of a particular product. And hence, a fractional ownership should be REITable in the marketplace and should be managed by professional bodies and other things and accepted by the capital market story. That will work. Tier 2, Tier 3 cities have already grown to a certain extent, except for the fact that certain Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities have actually gone backwards. So it is not about Tier 2 and Tier 3. It is which Tier 2 and Tier 3 are we talking about? And what is the growth potential of that two Tier and Tier 3 cities? So where the changes are taking place, let me give you an example. In the last 1 week, for instance, they have changed the labor laws in two of the states, Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, wherein they want to draw the factories to come in from China to come into these two states. Now, this has happened just 4 days and 6 days back. So the situation is extremely dynamic. Earlier, if you had asked me, would any factory coming in from China think of UP? My answer would have been maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, never, no way. That's not the place for factories to come in. Would they consider that today? The answer is yes. It would be an option, not necessarily an option to go to that place. For example, let's look at the United Arab Emirates. You come there, is it going to be Dubai? Is it going to be Abu Dhabi? Is it going to be Sharjah? Whatever it is. So obviously you'll see that certain elements have drawn people to Dubai. Certain people have been drawn to Abu Dhabi and so on and so forth. So we have to see what are the opportunities in each. You may say it is UAE, but actually each location and each part of the Emirates is very different from the other and the opportunities will change. So Tier 2, Tier 3 as a what should I say, as an overall description would be totally wrong. And so if you said Tier 2, Tier 3 doing well, my answer would be not necessarily, but yes, they are. So it's about which two-tier city. Are you talking about Pune? Are you talking about Ahmedabad? Are we talking about Mysore? Are we talking about Lucknow? Are you talking about Kanpur? And not only that, what it was yesterday is different and what are the opportunities today are different. That's the issue.